the body. The body. The 30-year-old mind. It ain't all that. It ain't all that. Auntie Miriam! My aunt is watching. That's wonderful. Someone's phoning me. Sonia, are you phoning me? Because Sonia, I know, probably wants to watch, and I just saw your call, but I'm not answering it because I'm live on YouTube. Hi, everybody. My name is Yewande, by the way. This is the first live stream ever of my podcast, Knitting the Blues. And if you're joining us and you're watching it after the live event, welcome to you as well. And yeah, just want you to settle in. I hope you are joining with something to drink, something refreshing. I have very simple aqua. And I also have some chamomile tea to keep me honest and well-behaved. And of course, I have my knitting. I'm working on the Ashburn Shawl by Melanie Berg. And this is the fourth one I'm making. I found it, I said I'm bewitched, or I don't know, obsessed, or sort of taken by the pattern. I think I made three. I made one for my mom-in-law, one for a friend, one for another friend. I think I made three, and this is my fourth. And this one's for me. But I'll be knitting on this. Let me just show you. It's a beautiful shawl that you can have lots of opportunity for color. I have many other colors. I don't think I'll get to them tonight. So I just brought these two that I'm busy with now. Look at that. Look at this. This is leftover Cardiff cashmere. I used this to make a top, and this was leftover Cardiff cashmere. Look at me, so sophisticated. But just look at how look at that, because it just, I don't know if it's going to pick it up. I don't know if it's picking it up on what side. But can you see that? I'm using a laptop, not my phone that I'm used to recording. I don't know if you can see, but it is so sweet, that blue with the gray. It is just so, so sweet. So all of that to say, this is what I'll be knitting on. And yeah, what are you knitting on? Some people are joining, which is wonderful. I'm going to lean in and see if I can read. I don't need reading glasses just yet, but soon enough. So we have Bama Kissed. Hello, Bama Kissed. And we have Naturally Vegan. You'll have to come back to watch. I'm about to go play in the snow with the family. Okay, Naturally Vegan. Go play in the snow. Good for you. I would do that too. Let me see if I can. And then we have Auntie Miriam. Hey. Hey, Auntie Miriam. Okay, my aunt is watching. That's wonderful. She's in Guyana. So, okay, I am going to get us started. 36 questions, if I can spell, that lead to love. Now, as I read the questions, and even if you're watching this after the live, please, answer in the chat. Let me know how you would answer it. The questions were developed by a psychologist. I think his name was Arthur Aron. I'll put, in the description, proper description, I'll put all that information. But he did this research looking at a series of questions. There are 36 of them, of course, and they get progressively more intimate. And it's about how to connect. I mean, it's called How to Fall in Love, but it's not just romantic love. I think of it as how to connect with others. The research itself, I think, was in the 90s, quite a while ago. And then it went a bit viral and popular when a journalist wrote about it in the New York Times. And then since then, it's been all over the place. I think there's even an app called 36 Questions. And, people think about it also in terms of romance and how to connect and when you're dating, these questions. So I thought we could do it as makers and crafters. Thanks for joining in on my experiment. The first question: given the choice of anyone in the world, whom would you want as a dinner guest? Okay. As I think of my answer, I'm going to knit. I'm one of those overthinkers, right? So I'm going to assume that the person has to be alive. You can't bring people back from the dead and things like that. And so I'm going to just take that level of complexity out so that I'm not like, well, who's died that I'd like to have dinner with? I would love to have dinner with Siri Hustvedt. So Siri Hustvedt is a writer. She's based in America, but I believe she has Norwegian heritage. She lives, I think, in New York. Her husband was Paul Auster, who died, I would say now 2 years ago. He had cancer, if I remember correctly. Why would I want to have dinner with Siri Hustvedt? I have read all her books. I could probably pull a few quickly from the shelf behind me. I've read almost all her books. Probably there's one or two I haven't read. And I just find her mind kind of like mysterious and puzzling and surprising and exciting, and almost more than any other writer. I mean, Toni Morrison has always been just someone that's been this beacon of light for me in my youth. I'm 45, but I've been writing and wanting to write from being a teen. And I remember being in high school and reading all of Toni Morrison's books at the time and doing a study on her. And she's always been this like beacon of light ahead that I've just like, if I just use her as my compass, my writing would always be the best that it can be. But Siri Hustvedt's work, which I met much later, like in my mid 20s and early 30s, her writing has always felt very permissive. Like it just allows me to dream big and wide and as deeply and heavily intellectual. And, she kind of breaks all the rules. Her writing is dense and intelligent and fascinating and surprising. I don't know. So if there are any avid readers amongst you, I would recommend almost all of Siri Hustvedt's books. And the one I would ask you to start with is called, how can I forget? What I Loved. She has a book called What I Loved, which is one of her earlier books. Just splendid. The first person that came to mind is Barack Obama. Yeah, I hear you, Antivarium. I was trying to like not be too fame and fortune. Cool, but I got you. Question 2. Would you like to be famous, and in what way? No, that's a no. I wouldn't like to be famous. I really speak not from personal experience. I mean, I'm a writer, but I'm not a famous writer by any means. But my father, was an intellectual. He passed away, but he was an intellectual, but he also, in a period of his career, he was a dramatist as well, and a writer himself, and a playwright. But he performed in what became a really iconic South African advert. It was the series of Vodacom adverts, and he played this crucial role in the adverts. And they started in the 90s, and they went through decades and decades, and they're iconic. They really are. His face was on billboards, and he would be stopped in the street, and people would ask for his photograph. And so seeing that up close, I mean, he was ever gracious, and I think, and he was up for it. But I just remember thinking, I don't think I could handle that. Like my personality, I'm much more reserved. And I know I'm here doing podcasts and live streams, but I'm quite shy. I'm quite, like my own little space. And like, I prefer to observe than be observed, strangely enough. Clearly, I'm exploring a different side of myself these days. My brother's also in film and acted in a very popular South African soap opera, and was also often hounded. And yeah, I remember once I had that experience. I mean, occasionally people see me and say, "Oh, you one day," and it's charming because it happens like once every 10 years. But if that was happening every day, moment after moment, I think I would feel quite, so no, I don't really want fame. But do you want fame? Anybody listening that is interested in fame? And if you would like to be famous, in what way? Miriam Walcott, if my work could be famous without me being the face of it. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, because I was actually thinking about that when they said in what way. I was thinking, yeah, like if one could offer something to the world, and that thing is what is famous, but you don't have to be the face of it and have to kind of show up all the time. The next question: before making a telephone call, do you ever rehearse what you're going to say and why? Have I ever rehearsed? I mean, for sure. Why? It's like, if it's somebody new that I don't know, if the stakes are high, maybe it's a difficult conversation you want to have. You want to, like, maybe it's actually uncomfortable, or it's difficult, or you want to point something out that's going to be awkward, or then I have been known to rehearse the odd conversation. Nothing of late, nothing like comes to mind lately. Any conversation rehearsers listening? Yeah, let us know. I'm going to move on. So that was question 3. I'm going to move on to question 4. It says, oh, this is a lovely one. What could constitute a perfect day for you? I love that question. I'm going to think about it a bit as I finish this row. And maybe you can think a bit about it as well and answer in the chat. What would constitute a perfect day? I would need to be somewhere quite warm. I'm an island girl. I was born in, in Barbados and grew up in Nigeria. I know Nigeria is not an island. I mean, I was born on an island and I grew up in very hot climate. And so, yeah, I would want to be somewhere with sun. I mean, it doesn't have to be scorching, but I need some sunshine. I need light. So there's part of a perfect day. I mean, who am I kidding? I would need to spend a bunch of the day. Like, just imagine this. A beautiful home. I'm a bit of a clean freak, so the home has just been cleaned. Everything's in place. The dishes are done. The laundry is done. The air is fresh. There's a meal that's going to arrive pre-cooked. I don't have to make it. Or maybe my partner's cooking that day. I don't know. But I'm not the one standing up in the kitchen. The meal's going to be arriving soon. There's some. I'm not much of an like. I'm a teetotaler. I'm a cheap date. So I don't. But I'm not averse to a glass of red wine or some champagne. Ooh, recently champagne has been like, hello. Since when are you? I've recently discovered that I like champagne. Gin and tonic is very much welcome as well. So there's just like a nice sprinkling of selection of drinks, also non-alcoholic, and there's some beautiful teas, and there's some beautiful plants. I'm very visual. I am an architect, and I'm sensitive to textures and colors, and I love a good space, I love a well-appointed space. So part of my perfect day is just being in a wonderful environment. I'd love a massive garden nearby that I could go and sit in and lie in with the sun on my face. And I would be working on something. Maybe I'd be working on an Ashburn shawl for myself or as a gift. And I would have one book that I'm reading, like by one of my favorite authors. And I love to read and knit. It is actually doable, particularly with fairly simple patterns. You can I put the book here and I'm reading. And don't judge me for this, but either my kids are somewhere else or they're having one of those days where they're playing nicely and they're loving each other. I have two boys, they're 5 years old. And they're obviously the absolute joy of my life. But they also demand a lot, right? So if it's the perfect day and if there's some relaxation involved for me, they're either just in a really mellow mood and they're happy to do their Lego or come and see my knitting or knit with me. I've been teaching them. That would be, if I did that, if I woke up at 9 and after breakfast, I did that from like 10 till 5, I wouldn't have any complaints. And maybe I read a bit, maybe then I watch something, maybe I read a bit, maybe I watch something, maybe a friend calls and we have a nice fat chat and the food arrives, and in the evening as the sun's going down, we can go and walk and maybe we're near the water, or we can go for a dip as the sun goes down. I mean, that would be perfect. There are many versions. I also love outdoors and nature. So maybe it's like a perfect day is like there are no phones, there's no connection, and you're just out in the sticks. And you're just in nature. You're just immersed in nature and hiking. Like hiking for an entire day would for me be also constitute a perfect day. Somewhere with water. Some not like hectic hiking where I have to like stab the rocks and like, no. Just walking and enjoying the feeling of being in my body. I'd love that. So Auntie Miriam's perfect day would be no cooking, amen, or cleaning. That's why my day started with a clean house. The house is clean. It's got to be clean though. I don't want to be in a dirty house for my perfect day. And she says, I'd be able to do some painting and general relaxing. Yay. Sonia says knitting or crocheting together with good friends. So great to see you. And who else is joining? Hi, Rosemary. And I hope I get your names right. Hey, Matthias. That's my brother-in-law. Talk about loyal family. He does not knit. He does not crochet. This is pure like loyalty. All right, I'm going to go to question 5. When did you last sing to yourself or to someone else? Okay, I mean, I love music. I love many. So I love the arts. I just think the arts, and I have a. This is I'm now going on a tangent, but I believe in another life I was a dancer. I'm not saying I'm a good dancer. I do believe that in another life I was a dancer professionally. Now, um, but I think dancing for me, dance is this is contentious, of course, but I think dance is like one of the like a primary art form. It's immediate, it's embodied. It is. I just think it's pure. So just saying, that's a total aside. That's not the question I was asked. The question I was asked was, when did you last sing to yourself and to someone else? I love singing. I sing all the time, not just in the shower. I used to, when I was in high school, I was in the vocal ensemble and I was in the choir, and I was, any chance to sing, I jumped at it. And I was even saying to my partner, we went to a wonderful theater, we went to a musical evening. The Johannesburg Orchestra was performing. It was amazing. And Marian Alsop was conducting. She's incredible. Heck, I'd have her to dinner. What am I saying? I'd have her to dinner. She is incredible. But I was saying to my partner when I was there, I was like, oh, I miss singing. And if I had all the time in the world, I would join a choir. I would actually just join a choir. I'd love to. So I sing all the time. So when did I last? I don't know, today. And I love singing to my kids. And I remember when I was dating my husband now, I used to send him little like voice note songs, which was very brave of me, but I think he appreciated. I mean, I guess he did because he stuck around. So yeah, any singers? Not a singer, says Rosemary. But okay, so you're not going to be. It said the question really is, when did you last sing to yourself? I don't know if anybody wants to answer that, because that's a lovely. You don't have to be good, right? It's not saying when did you last, wow everybody. It's just like, when did you last sing to yourself, or to anyone else? Miriam Walcott, every day. She sings every day. Okay, my husband thinks he's a singer and is always singing, so I'm always getting a tune stuck in my head. I also sing old girl guide songs to myself. Actually did that day before. Sweet. So Sonia is saying, I also love singing. My cat, my cat, of course, she doesn't always appreciate it. Well, you don't know. Unless you speak cat, you don't know. Your cat that might be your cat's way of applauding. So question 6. If you were able to live to the age of 90, that's a beautiful age, and retain either the mind or body of a 30-year-old for the last 60 years of your life, which would you want? I have my answer. It's going to be a little bit ballsy, but like, I'm 45. I don't need the mind of a 30-year-old. The mind of a 30-year-old for me was not that interesting. My 45-year-old mind, I would hold on to that. But it's not giving me that choice. It's saying 30. And I think when I was 30, I was still a bit low scope. So I would take the body. I mean, I take the body. I take the body. Judge me if you want. I'll take the body. Let's see what others are saying. Who wouldn't take the body? Maybe yeah, I suppose, Sonia. My mother was 93 years old when she passed. I'm so sorry to hear that she passed away. Her physical body didn't cooperate, but there was nothing wrong with her mind. So I definitely will go for the mind. There you go. Yeah, I hear you. It's Auntie Miriam. It's actually I think it's not as obvious to go for the body because similar to you, Sonia, my dad died at 80, if I'm remembering the age right, and 80 and some. And his mind was, well, he'd had a stroke. My dear, dear father, whom I miss and dream of almost every day. I still grieve him. He's really was my hero. But he had a stroke, which is the real evil, because the stroke took his voice. And so even if you've got the mind, like his ways of communicating were profoundly hampered, and then the stroke took his movement. So that's neither, right? So maybe I should just be happy if I get one or the other, mind or body, whatever it is, I'll hold on to. But yeah, life ain't easy. Definitely the mind, says Rosemary. Okay, I really want to actually hear from people choosing the mind. Why? With the mind, you can still communicate, says Sonia. Yeah. I guess you're right. With the mind, you can still. It's an awful question, mind or body, right? It's an awful question. Auntie Miriam says, if you're 90 years old and still have a good mind, why wouldn't you want the body of a 30-year-old? Ooh, question 7. Do you have a secret hunch about how you will die? Ooh. Oh my God. I mean, okay, couple of things. Okay, a couple of things. I'm going to answer. It's going to be all over the place. But one thing I do is like I have a horror movie about how I don't want to die. How I don't want to die. Like drowning in an aeroplane, fire. I just think, but and so I'm almost like haunted sometimes by these images of water, and I learned to swim as an adult like several years ago, and a little bit haunted by that. But no hunch. I don't have any like. I don't. Nothing that feels solid. Let me see if anyone else has. It's a deep one. It's a deep one. So Rosemary says, if I could pass away like my grandfather, he passed away in his sleep. Wow. Yeah. That does seem the best thing, right? And this idea of, there's also that kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Archetypal death, right? Where you're surrounded by your family or by the people you love. And then you have your last glance and you close your eyes. And that's, if we could choose, yes, just peacefully. So Auntie Miriam says, I don't have a hunch. And I'm calling Auntie Miriam because she's my auntie. In case you wonder, like, why is she calling one of the listeners auntie? I don't have a hunch, but I don't, and about how she'll die, she's saying, but I don't think it'll be in a car accident. On 3 occasions, including one in Nigeria with your mom, I've had mishaps in cars without being hurt. Oh, interesting. Okay, I didn't know about that mishap. I'd love to hear that story sometime. I'll move on swiftly, but I'll also have a sip of my tea first. I'm drinking chamomile tea. If you're drinking anything interesting, feel free to let us know. If you're knitting on anything interesting or crocheting, feel free to let us know. I'm going to move on to the next question. Question 9. For what in your life do you feel most grateful? That's a beautiful question, right? I love that. And I ask myself that frequently. I don't know why I'm suddenly like getting a bit emotional, but I ask myself that frequently because I think, oops, my phone fell, sorry. Sometimes you go through a challenge or something's happened or you've lost people or you miss someone or things are challenging at the moment. But I think, yeah, I frequently be like, oh, what's good? What is there that's good? What is there that I'm grateful for, or that I feel grateful for? For what in my life do I feel most grateful? Do I feel most grateful? Oh God, I hate those. Like I could list off a bunch of things, but like most, I hate that like most, least, because you're really having to, stack things. What do I feel most grateful? Most grateful about? I mean, life itself. I'm grateful to my parents for giving me life, I guess. I have to say life itself because that's the source. That's the source. I'm grateful for the source that I can be alive, be who I am, and from there, like, be able to have the family I have and have the partner I have, the children that I have, the experiences. But yeah, just life itself, I would say I'm most grateful for. So my parents, I guess, is what I'm saying. Most grateful for, like, the life I was, the life I stumbled into. I don't know if we believe these things are fate or I don't know. That's getting deep. Like, is it fate or is it by design? But I'm deeply, deeply grateful for both my parents and the life that's been a gift, and that I hope I live till I'm 90 and die in my sleep like Rosemary's grandfather. Let me see what you guys are saying here in the chat. My very special friends that I know through knitting, crocheting, and the amazing support I got from them these past few years of your life. Yeah, that's beautiful. Auntie Miriam says, at this stage in life, I guess it is that I have no major ailments. I hear you. It's so important to bring ourselves back to gratitude, I think. I know it sounds kind of twee and like it should be on a postcard, or it's like, oh, it's very kind of Oprah. And and Oprah is fabulous. I'm not knocking Oprah, but it's just a simple rule, I guess, to bring ourselves back to gratitude, regardless of what, particularly in the times we're in. It's tough times for many people, right? There's a lot going on in the world, and there's so much suffering, and you see it, And yeah, one thing I worry a bit because I really want to teach my children gratitude, and I know you can't like instruct gratitude, right? I just saw a cat in the corner. That's how I was distracted. Not my cat, just a neighbor's cat, I guess, prowling. I'd love my kids to really get gratitude, and I guess because of the life one lives, and I keep thinking they're always asking me for stuff. Like, you should just be happy that, like, I mean, I try not to lecture them about things like that, but inside I'm just like, how can I teach them that, and I don't love consumerism. So I don't really buy them a bunch of stuff. I buy them like a few really good quality toys and then say, you just rock with that through the year, dude. But even so, we live in a culture of like more, and and I really want to just how to teach them like gratitude for the small things, right? And that's what really matters, not like another item. Sorry, that's my phone telling me somebody sending me a message that I cannot read right now. Okay, let's keep going. Rosemary says, I'm so thankful and grateful for the life that I was given. My parents were given the option to abort me because of a medical issue, and my parents just decided that we will take what we were given. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm quite moved. I'm a bit of a, I'm a real softie. So if I tear up a little bit, just know it's because I find that very beautiful. Thanks for sharing that. Oh dear. Let's fan the tears away, Yewande. Fan the tears away. I'm such a softie. That's a beautiful thing to share. Thank you, Rosemary. Question 10. If you could change anything about the way you were raised. Ooh, I need to think. Because the first question is, would you change anything about the way you were raised? And if it's no, it's no. Because you're like, no, it was cool. It was all good, nothing. And I don't think it has to sound like a judgment on like whoever raised you. It's not saying, oh, they did a bad job. But it's like, oh, if I could change that because of what I know happened later in my life, maybe. But then maybe some of us also feel like life unfolds as it should. And so you don't want to you wouldn't really want to tamper with anything. It's almost like this is now revealing my age, but well, I mean, I'm happy to reveal my age. I'm 45, but it reveals the time I was born in. Who watched like Back to the Future? Because it's like when you tamper with stuff, you get into trouble. Because that's one of the things with Back to the Future. They'll go back and they'll tamper, but because you tampered with it, something else happens badly in the. Oh God, I'm getting confused with the future and present. I hope you know what I mean. And if you don't, let's just keep it moving. But it's a thing about like, maybe I don't want to. It doesn't mean I had the perfect childhood, but it was what it was, and it's got me where I am today. Because I'm very lucky. I think I had a wonderful childhood. If I could replicate that and give my kids that childhood, I would. Of course, I can't. I grew up in Nigeria. I grew up in Ile-Ife, which is a university town, Obafemi Awolowo University town. My dad was a lecturer. My mother worked on campus, and we grew up on campus. And it was in the 80s. I was born in 1980, and we roamed the streets as kids, and we plucked fruit from neighbors' homes, and we rode our bikes around, and we went to the university zoo, and we went to the university school together. And I don't know, it wasn't, we didn't have a lot of things, and it was a small town. My mom would make ice cream. My mom would make the peanut butter. Now you go to the shops and buy it. My mom would make the peanut butter. She'd make the ice cream. She'd make the bread. She made all my clothes. I think I shared about that in one of my first podcasts. So a fairly very simple, not at all extravagant, but of course we never wanted for anything. And I just think it was just the perfect childhood. And we didn't have much TV because like I was growing up in Nigeria and like it was never good reception. So you read books, you just read a ton of books. You played in the streets. You picked fruits. So we would pick guavas and the almond fruit, which is very popular in Nigeria. We have a lot of almond trees. And you'd pick the fruit and then you'd dry the seed and then you'd break the seed open and you'd eat the little almond inside. So I guess I'm waxing lyrical, but I'm saying there's very little I would change about my childhood. But I did have some trauma, as a child, unbeknownst to my parents, I should say, and that's sometimes how childhood trauma happens, if there's abuse, sometimes, it comes in a funny place. And maybe if I want to just take out the stuff that wasn't nice, I would take that out. But I am one of those people, I guess, that says even that has made me the kind of adult I am. And I'm not saying I'm perfect in any way, but I'm proud of what I've been able to accomplish and what I've had to learn and how I've grown, right? Because and I've done a lot of work on myself over the years, a lot of work, including I've been in therapy and, so yeah, I don't believe you can excise pain from life and still end up okay. Like, I don't think you can take all the good stuff and leave the bad. We'd love that, wouldn't we? But I don't think that will equate to a life, and that a full life is everything that's painful about that life that we might wish to change, but also everything that's glorious. And being a writer, my writing has really helped me process things that happened when I was young, or even as an adult, things that happened, any trauma that's happened as an adult, and has helped me really process it. And then, of course, I do, knitting for me is so sacred. I don't know, it's like magic. It's so healing. It's so restorative. So that's me. I always wondered what growing up in a two-parent loving household would have been like. My mother was great, though. Oh, I hear you. Just, sending you love there. Yeah, wow. I got you. So you acknowledge your mom and she was great, right? But it's like acknowledging that, you often wondered, oh, what would that have been like? Yeah. I don't know why am I like tearing up? Oh my God, this is so embarrassing. Why am I tearing up? I don't know. I'm a softie. What can I say? Can't say anything. It's a long way back to my childhood. Auntie Miriam, my aunt says it's a long way back to my childhood. But I don't think I would change anything. I think sorry, I'm clearly going blind because I think I more changed my parents because of the age gap between me and my older siblings. The big gap, hey, between you, and you were the last born. Yeah. 12 years. Okay, so 12-year gap. It's a big gap. So we just answered question 10. Question 11, second to last question of the first set. And we're doing the first set today, and then we'll do the second set another day. So question 12, if you could wake up tomorrow having gained any one quality or ability, what would it be? Ooh. I love languages. I love literature and communication and words, and English is my first language. My father was Yoruba. I grew up, so I grew up with a bit of Yoruba, but I'm not fluent in Yoruba at all, much to my grief, because I think it is an amazing language. An amazing language. And I just went back, when I had a bit of free time and some money, I went back to Nigeria for just under a month to sharpen my Yoruba at the University of Ibadan. Has a course specifically for people like me, children of Yoruba speakers that aren't fluent, but that have it bouncing around in the back of their head and just kind of need it to be brought to the forefront. And that's what this course did really wonderfully. So what the ability would be to speak Yoruba fluently. And if I could speak all languages, or maybe if I could be unrealistic and speak all languages, I'd take that. I would take that. I would take that. I just think too. So I speak English. Obviously, I speak some Yoruba. I had to learn Afrikaans when I came to South Africa. Um, I'm a student of French at the moment and enjoying it. My partner is French speaking, and I speak very bad Italian because I worked in Italy for a short while. But I just love languages, and I just think the more languages I could speak, the better. To my shame, I don't speak Xhosa, I don't speak Zulu, I don't speak Tswana. These are South African languages. I came to South Africa at a time when it was Afrikaans that they forced you to learn, not the kind of the traditional African languages, but Afrikaans. Or I don't know if I'm using the right terms. Don't come after me, but like not the indigenous languages. Can I say? I don't know if that's the right term either. But that's me. I would be fluent in Yoruba and maybe French because it's so damn hard to learn. So if I could just like flip a button and have French, I would take it. Oh yes, I thought you would say all languages. That would be fantastic. Yeah, yeah. All yeah, I guess I'm crochet Jojo. Yeah, I'm being the greedy person in me is like all languages. Yoruba because it's just I mean, I've suffered the fact that I don't speak it the way I think I ought to all my life because I just think I'm a Yoruba person. I should be able to speak Yoruba. My mom was not Nigerian. My mom was from Barbados, and I was born in Barbados, but I grew up in Nigeria. And so my Yoruba, when people are speaking, I can understand. If I speak, my accent will be wrong. They'll make fun of me. I won't quite be, I'm not fluent by any means. And it's a little bit of a pain, a wound. It's a little bit, if we have to look for wounds, it's a little bit of a wound. Arabic is another language I would love to speak. My father he was a student of Arabic. He studied Arabic for his PhD. Yeah, I just think that's also an incredible language. Sonia, to be able to to be able to sprout wings and fly. Yes. Where would you fly to? I wonder. Noma's here. Noma. I'm just seeing you now. Yay. I'd love the ability to play any musical instrument out there. Yeah. So great that you're here with us, Noma. And Noma is actually learning piano, jazz piano. I think jazz. Did you say it was jazz? But I know you're like a student of the piano, and you'd love to like add other instruments to that. I'm with you on that as well. Gosh, ability to teleport. We have people who want to fly and sprout wings, teleport. The ability to understand any language. Yeah, there's something about being able to. It's also about connection because then wherever you go, you can access people, and language can be a barrier, right? Crochet Jojo, realistic. I would love to remove my shyness. Oh, okay. Oh, shyness is actually a beautiful quality as well. I mean, I'm sure it can be. I think it's a beautiful quality because I think it's quite a quiet quality, and there's a lot of noise in the world. There's a lot of noise in the world these days, and I think that sort of quiet quality. So all the questions in set one. Question one: given the choice of anyone in the world, whom would you want as a dinner guest? Question two: would you like to be famous? In what way? Question three: before making a telephone call, do you ever rehearse what you're going to say and why? Question four: what could constitute a perfect day for you? Question five: when did you last sing to yourself or to someone else? Question six: if you were able to live to the age of 90 and retain either the mind or body of a 30-year-old for the last 60 years of your life, 60 years is a long time, which would you want? Question seven: do you have a secret hunch about how you will die? Question eight: name three things you and your partner appear to have in common. Question nine: for what in your life do you feel most grateful? Question 10: if you could change anything about the way you were raised, what would it be? Question 11: take 4 minutes and tell your partner your life story in as much detail as possible. And the last question of this set: if you could wake up tomorrow having gained any one quality or ability, what would it be? I hope this has been fun. I've kind of enjoyed it. It's so bizarre, but I've enjoyed it, and I've been quite moved by some of your answers, and just the generosity of spirit. So thank you. And I've been nervous, and I was like, what is this? And why did I say I'd do it? And what's the point? And why do I do these things? Yep. But actually, this has really kind of filled me up and been quite restorative. I'm trying to point to my heart and not mess up the mic. But yeah, it's been kind of warming and beautiful. And I'll do it again for sure. I'll do it again. Let me know how it was. I don't know, you might not do the chat. I will post it next week. And if you're regular viewers and you watch my podcast, maybe comment in the chat and let me know. You could say how it was for you to participate, and would you like another one, or would you like a different format? Any tips? I don't mind notes. You can give me notes. I don't mind. I'm not precious. I'm learning. I don't mind notes. Thank you. Thanks for all the love. VJ, we're ending. There's VJ. That brings a smile to my face to see your name in the chat. I'll do it again. Yay. Thanks for the encouragement and the love. And yeah, listen, take care. Have an excellent rest of your weekend. Happy crafting if you're making stuff. Take care. Be safe. I think it's like silly season. It gets a little crazy and holidays begin. Take care. Our craft is about going slow, so just enjoy slowing down, enjoy the people you're around. Sorry, it's bouncing around a bit but enjoy the people that you happen to be around. If you can't be with the one you love the ones you're with. Let me go. Big kisses and hugs and so much Yanni love to you. Thanks so much for just, the vibes. Take care, everyone. Bye for now.